All right, we have finally made it to the first day of Louisiana college football, starting off with Louisiana Monroe against the St. Francis Red Flash. Most people don't have any knowledge of St. Francis in itself, so I'll just give a little bit of information going into this matchup tonight. St. Francis Red Flash from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, part of the Northeastern Conference. Last season, they were 4-7 on the season, 2-4 in the Northeast Conference. They ended up having one win against a Division I opponent, but it was against the University of Kent State, who was considered by many to be the worst team in Division I. Now, there's not that much coming back from this team. Looking through their schedule last year, losing to Dayton, that Kent State game was one of the very few in Division I that actually went well for them. As you can see, they also played Eastern Michigan that they got shut out and blown out. If Louisiana Monroe needed the team to be able to build up their defense from last season, whenever they struggled kind of mightily against a lot of the heavier running teams, this is a team to go against. Just to put in perspective how these teams would have ranked based off of Division I stats. I know Division II FCS is a little bit different on it, but St. Francis averaging 16 points a game, averaging 124 yards on the ground, which would have been 103rd in the country. 16 points a game would also be 130th in the country, only 3 teams worse. Passing, they would be 125th in the country at just about 159 yards per game. Yes, that is actually a little bit better than what Monroe was last year. And then as a total offense, they had just about 283 yards a game. Offensively, they were actually fairly solid, giving up 83 yards rushing, 21 points per game. It's not the issue defensively. This is going to be an offensive struggle for St. Francis, even though they actually bring back all 3 of the quarterbacks that started games last year. But they also bring back 2 players that are going to end up being on the All Northeast Conference team. Now, 2-time offensive line member in Mason Impt, I'm probably getting that wrong, and sophomore linebacker Gino Calgaro, who had 7.5 tackles for loss last year. Now, they bring back four quarterbacks. 3 of them had starts in last season, including Nick Whitfield, who is likely the most mobile of these quarterbacks. DeMarcus McElroy and Marco Coleman, both of their top 2 running backs transferred out to other colleges, Merrimack College.
Whitfield played
McElroy,
6 games,
who had over
6
700
touchdowns, 3
yards,
interceptions
and Holman,
on 55%
going to Western Illinois, who had over
just
500.
over 1,000 yards in those 6 games. Jeff Hohenstein, also playing in 7 games in this case, 58% completion percentage, 455 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Not too active on it, but not too active whenever it got towards later in the season, but most of his appearances were in early September and October. Then you have Adrian Mejia, actually the one who's probably going to get most of the playing time as a redshirt junior. 37 for 60, about 62% completion percentage, 259 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Now, I'm not sure what any of these are going to end up starting on it, or if there's going to get multiple quarterbacks in the system for this. But those are likely going to be the three choices that have had made starts last year, and potentially being what the Warhawks are going to end up seeing. Rushing, I could not find anybody on the team last year that had any sort of stats rushing. All I could find was a senior running back who was on defense the last couple years, had a combined 34 tackles in the last 2 seasons, 42 total. He's now considered a running back, so I don't expect him to have that many tackles anymore. For the fact that they moved him to a running back makes me think that he is likely going to be the guy who's going to get the lion's share of the attempts. Now, there's really only one wide receiver that is coming back that had any sort of experience. Jamil Perriman, who had 17 receptions, 119 yards, 1 touchdown. there's not much here offensively to be able to write home about. So it's clearly going to be a work in progress for this team. Hopefully be able to get some confidence for the Warhawks secondary. And same thing with the defensive backs. Only 3 players on the team have any sort of stat line coming back. The most being Colin Douglas, 11 tackles, 1 pass breakup. Then you have what feels like just one snap guys, or maybe one possession guys, in Hockenberry and Echinoza Igibor. Probably got that one wrong, but hopefully Aiden Armenta and this offense can build on passing and hopefully get to 200 yards in this game. Now, off the line, they actually have a decent bit of defensively. I mentioned Calgaro. Kendrick Council's another linebacker that has a decent bit of production coming back. 30 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and a sack. And on the line, there's not much either. Between 4 players, they have a combined returning value of 5.5 tackles for loss. But yeah, that's a little bit on the St. Francis Red Flash. Probably a solid warm-up game to be able to build up their early schedule like they did last year against Jackson State. Hopefully to similar success, because that game ended 30-14 and started up a run where they began this season 5-1 before it kind of fell apart. Quick information on tonight's opponent, but yeah, I'll be there. This game's probably going to end up being displayed some point on TV, but I'll take a look on how the atmosphere is whenever I go into there tonight. I'll see y'all there. All right.